Well, David, thanks again for being here. Fourth show, you're still with us. That's so great. But you got me a little worried there with being the elimination round. But let's start at the beginning of the day and your first immunity challenge against Oren. I have to say, $100 bet right up front didn't look all that confident on either side. Tell me about how you came to that decision.
Actually, I don't come to that decision. It's Oren, because Oren was lower on the money list, so he makes the bet with how much he played for. So I just technically kind of, whatever they wanted to play for, we had to play for.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then, I just agreed to that. So how it worked was, he just said, how about $100? And, I couldn't be like, oh no, let's do 500, or I don't agree. It's kind of whatever he wanted to do, we would do.
It's interesting. I wonder if that meant that he wasn't feeling all that confident. That's curious. Well, thanks for...
I think it was more so that if he did an elimination challenge, he wanted to make sure that he had the most money possible to buy the extra half shot.
Mm.
So a lot of the decisions might look one way or another, but it's a lot of strategy involved, like for planning for the future sort of thing.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Well, you both got into trouble right off the tee. Oren hit a magnificent shot from that tree. But you struggled out of the bunker and then did a little sculling yourself on that chip shot. So you must have been feeling the pressure at that point.
Yeah, that was a complete nervy chip. My short game is generally the best part of my game. So to hit a chip shot like that, I've been dreading this show for about 6 months since that day ended of filming. Just because it was pretty embarrassing. Just in the heat of the moment, nervous, and I did the thing that you tell a 40 handicapper not to do. I looked up. So, and then actually I hit a pretty good putt. I thought I actually made the putt, but and then I thought Oren, watching on TV, it looked like he almost missed it.
Mm-hmm.
But I just hit so many poor shots in a row. I didn't really deserve to kind of beat Oren anyway. He did what he did. He made his par from a tough spot.
Mm-hmm. Well, it was kind of fun watching the show just because we saw different things from different people. You had a little struggle. We saw Shank, not really shank it, but scull it into George Bush. So, and yet you guys all took it in stride. You didn't get all upset and slam your clubs, which you've seen some temper tantrums in the past on the big break. This is a completely different group of people.
Yeah, that's the one thing I know as collectively as a group we wanted to kind of show. Like, at the end of the day, you just have to beat one person to continue on to the show.
Mm-hmm.
As long as you beat one person, you're going to continue on. That's my mindset going through the whole entire show. Is kind of a match play mentality, because in my mind, that's how I play my best. But you still have another chance to get immunity and to make a little bit more money, and and then after that, if you go to elimination challenge, you still have another chance.
Mm-hmm.
So you kind of got, there's like 3 strikes and you're out, really. But the second you get upset and it's just not going to do anything for you. It's going to build upon itself, and bad things will happen.
Mm-hmm. Well, you did have a second chance, and going up for the blackjack tournament, what did you think of that competition and some of the twists that you saw that were happening in people determining to hit or miss? Just give me your overall sense of what you thought of that.
That's the first true thing when, people in the past who have done, who haven't won the big break or whatnot, it's challenges like that, like the blackjack one, that are the reason why they might not have, because at the end of the day, this is a golf game show. It's just the same thing as, I explain the show to people who don't watch the show as playing Crazy 8 with a deck of cards. We're playing big break with golf clubs.
Mm-hmm.
It's a game. Like, if they put a grid on an actual green,
mm-hmm.
then it would be different. It would be kind of golf. But this was kind of, you had a little bit of a fly out of the rough, and then it hit the fairway, and then who knows if, with the slope of the fairway and how it would run out, if it would kick left. And so it was a little bit different. In the sense that it wasn't necessarily golf, especially in the fact that you couldn't tell what your opponent was doing. You're there, and my boy Carl put on a fantastic performance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was a different sort of challenge. And, to be perfectly honest with you, I'm not much of a bettor or a gambler, and I had to jog the memory of what blackjack actually was because I didn't really know what it was. I kind of figured it out when they said 21 is not, and so I figured I ended up piecing all the pieces together.
Well, you couldn't have done much better than 20, and you took a real big risk, but still pulled it off. And there was nothing about that. You had somebody sitting there who did the poker face. Now, if he hadn't done that and sort of stood and watched and back and forth, do you think you might have stayed, or do you think you would have gone for it anyway?
I would have gone for it anyway, hands down. I figured Carl had anywhere between 17 and 19, and I knew he was thinking about it, but he really kind of dragged the performance out.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, I don't know. And in my mind, it was one of those things like the flop shot wall, the whole pride thing. Like 77 to 88 yards is the yardage I love. Mm-hmm. And keep in mind, I'm hitting out of the rough onto a fairway instead of onto a green, but I was like, I even thought, which I can't remember if they even showed, but I sat there for a second. I was going to try to hit the ace again and get 21 because I was so confident that I could hit the ace again. Mm-hmm. But I was like, you know what, don't do anything stupid because you don't know what he has. And, either way, once I hit a third shot, I was automatically done because his natural would beat anything I got. So mm-hmm. It was definitely an interesting challenge.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, and it was an interesting elimination as well. One again, it was good golf. You both hit some great shots, and you spent the money. Now, given you talked at the beginning of the series how you didn't like giving up too much cash in the competition, you gave up quite a bit last night for that half point. Was that because you watched Shank do it before?
No. You know what? In the beginning, I was like, you know what? I don't know. The very first show, I was like, you know what? I don't know if this is a good idea to do it. In my mind, if I was to get into one. And then Kent and I talked when Shank went into the elimination challenge, and at the end of the day, okay, would you rather be on the show with $1 or off it with $6,000? Mm. It really, if you put it that, like, if you break it down to make it that simple, the decision to take the extra half a shot is kind of a joke of a decision because you just take the extra half a shot. Mm-hmm. Like, it's not a decision. You just do it. Mm-hmm. With that being said, I'm at a huge disadvantage now because now I'm, the next show, or whatever happens here on out, I'm at the bottom of the money list and have to work my way back up and whatnot. But as long as my whole thought is, I don't do anything that easy in my life anyway. I try to do it the hard way. So my whole thought is that as long as I'm there, as long as I'm there, I feel like I can beat at least one person a day to keep on advancing. Mm-hmm. So as long as I got hope, I think I could, I still have a chance. And even though I'm at a massive disadvantage now, I'm still on TV, I'm still on my favorite show, and I still have a chance. And that was my whole thought process going into that, spending that much money on a half a shot.
Yeah, well, I think it paid off. Now, you just clarify for me, when people are eliminated, they don't get to keep the money that they started with, do they? Or they landed?
No. No, you once you're eliminated, your money goes into the house pot.
Right.
And the winner of the show will get everybody else's money. Mm. So if a guy leaves with $10,000 and didn't buy the half a shot, he goes home with zero. So I think that whole, like I said, that whole decision to buy the extra half a shot really isn't much of a win. It's just something you need to do. You got to respect the guy's games you're going against. Mm-hmm. And, it's not a guarantee, but it puts the guy at such a mental disadvantage going into the elimination challenge with knowing that even if he beats me by one, it's still a tie. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Well, and interesting watching you and Russell because they say golf is a game of inches, and, he missed out by an inch in one of his challenges, and you missed out, or you just got inside by inches. And so it really came down to a lot of that, even though at the end of the day you did have 3 shots to be able to make it and hit a stunner into the 4th position. But it had some nerve-wracking moments there.
That's an understatement. I've talked to a couple people, and even about the most embarrassing moment of my golfing career is my chip there on so far that I bladed or whatever. And I could go on for hours trying to describe the pressure it is on the show, because it's not the only people who understand it are the competitors on the other 14 seasons of the Big Break. Mm-hmm. Nobody understands it unless you're there. It's just it's one bad shot and you go home, and it's one bad shot and your dream is kind of crushed. Mm-hmm. And it was just at that time. Now with the show being done and I go play golf, it's almost laughable how nervous I was, because now I go and play golf and it's like I know I'm nervous, but I'm not even that nervous compared to how nervous I was. Like my first shot on the show, my wedge was like shaking in my hand. Mm-hmm. And it's just an easy wedge shot. It was definitely this last show was one of the best sort of learning experiences going forward in my golf career for sure.
Mm-hmm. Well, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, right? So you survived. You're living on to the next week, which I'm so excited about, and looking forward to talking to you about that next week. And so thanks a lot, David, and we'll talk next week, okay?
Absolutely. Thank you.
Take care.